Significant public sculpture has always had a special place in Chicago. That might easily have begun with Laredo Taft's 1922 Fountain of Time at the west end of the Midway Plaisance, or his 1913 Fountain of the Great Lakes sculpture outside of the Art Institute. More recently, Cloudgate, colloquially referred to as the Bean in Grant Park by Anish Kapoor, has garnered massive attention. This is Reno Lovison, executive producer at ChicagoBroadcastingNetwork.com, providing some insight into a few films related to the 60th Annual Chicago International Film Festival, which takes place in October every year. This is my review of a Chicago-themed documentary, Light of Truth, Richard Hunt's Monument to Ida B. Wells. What really kicked off the postmodern proliferation of public art in Chicago was the 1967 installation of the Picasso sculpture in the Civic Center Plaza. The controversy and ultimate acceptance of this abstract colossus ushered in a new era of world-class public sculpture that includes thought-provoking works by masters such as Calder, Miro, Chagall, and of course Chicago's own Richard Hunt, whose work speaks to and for the African American experience.
Richard Hunt is one of the most important sculptors. His art is known around the world. It is so fitting that he was chosen to create this monument.
This documentary follows Hunt's creation of a monument to civil rights champion and women's suffrage leader Ida B. Wells, using the depiction of his process as an opportunity to showcase each of their contributions to society, and doing so within the greater context of the history of the Black experience. Ida B. Wells was born at the dawn of emancipation, and through her lifetime worked together with the likes of Frederick Douglass, stood up for the dignity of everyday people of color by refusing to give up her railroad seat decades before Rosa Parks did the same on a Montgomery bus, marched side by side in Washington, D.C. with white suffragettes, and carried the message of Black American struggle for equality as a lecturer around the world.
Who was this woman who understood that there could be no civil rights without women's rights? Who was this woman who took up her pen and wrote about our rights and marched for them and helped us to get a little bit closer to gaining them? Ida B. Wells.
In the urban renewal period of 1960s, her name was associated with the low-income housing project on Chicago's South Side. It's on that site that her monument is erected as a tribute to her and as a legacy for the many people who identify this location as their neighborhood and home.
She spent so many years working in Chicago and living her life in Chicago, and so it's proper that there be a monument in Chicago, on the south side of Chicago, for Ida B. Wells.
People were starting to go to Ida's gravesite to place "I voted" stickers on election day, and then some people were starting to even have little ceremonies on her birthday in the cemetery. And so that made me realize, people really do need a specific location that they can go to in order to honor somebody that they really have respect for.
A master of metalwork, Richard Hunt manages to fashion tons of steel into 40-foot-tall flickering flames reminiscent of the lightness and brilliance of ether projecting skyward as though illuminating the heavens. In this way, Hunt's creation transcends Wells' physical form in favor of reflecting her qualities of leadership and courageous spirit of hope. This informative film by producer-director Rana Siegel and Chicago-based producer Laurie Little points out an interesting but tragic similarity that was a turning point for each of these subjects. For Wells, it was the lynching of 3 prominent black men in her hometown of Memphis, while for Hunt it was the public viewing in 1955 of the disfigured body of Emmett Till, a black teenager brutally beaten by white Southerners while visiting in Mississippi. In Light of Truth, editors Tom Desch and Rena Siegel skillfully weave together biographical information about the two main subjects of Hunt and Wells, while providing important historical insight and illuminating the continuing quest to overcome what many call America's original sin. The premiere of the 67-minute documentary Light of Truth, Richard Hunt's Monument to Ida B. Wells, is being screened as part of the 60th Chicago International Film Festival, October 16th through 27th, 2024. For festival information, visit chicagofilmfestival.com. For film information, visit amonumentforidabfilm.com. We've produced several podcasts and videos related to Chicago visual artists, as well as a number of history-related podcasts here at ChicagoBroadcastingNetwork.com. This is Reno Lovison reminding you to like, share, or subscribe to Chicago Broadcasting Network at our website or wherever you prefer to listen to podcasts. And as always, if you need marketing or video assistance for your business or organization, check out renoweb.net.
See this shiny flame that glows? That's Richard's work. That's what we need to project our history